Agut v'achra boisai. Akad Moed. Lidin ishmasi mimiros urus Mordechai. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to have shir in my sukkah, Nachal Noam 2. It's going to start at 10 o'clock. Anybody wants to daven with us? Shachris, we're davening behind this wall over here. There's going to be a minyan here as well, but that's much earlier. 7. No chairs. I'm going to ask the Olam, as you leave today, just bring your chair outside so they can take it to my sukkah. There'll be like 10 chairs. We'll leave 10 chairs here. Because my sukkah only holds about 70 people, I'm going to have to ask the Olam. I hate to do this, but I ask the Olam, maybe don't bring your children this time. Don't bring your guests and your neighbors. For people that watch the shir, let's be fair. I know it's a free breakfast. That's why last year some guy had 13 children. He did us a favor. He brought 10 out of the 13. So
Ellie, those who do that are not here. That's the problem.
And he himself doesn't even do the shir. Yeah,
so he doesn't even watch.
He doesn't even watch. He doesn't know. If you see a guy like that coming up the stairs, give him some eggs or whatever and tell him to come back a different day. Otherwise, I want to show you 3 pictures from 3 different sukkahs. Please send these in. This doesn't do anything for my gaiva whatsoever. Here, you have this? Here's sukkah number 1. Here's sukkah number 2. And here is sukkah number 3. Here's my son Eli trying to arrange a meeting between the Alter Rebbe and the Vilna Gaon. I get Yantiv from Nathan Genot. Does it say anything here? Oh, how do we go 2 days without you? Have a wonderful Yantiv, Alan Gross. But all 3, that's the only picture available? Is the Ami cover? Okay.
They're all from your sukkah, right?
Don't worry. When you come to my sukkah, you'll see I also have something about myself in there too on the wall. Not to be outdone. Rabbi said we had the honor of having Ed Fox here, I don't know, it was yesterday, 2 days ago. And I wish I would have known this. His son-in-law sent us in, sponsoring shir in his honor. And here he is. I remember this, showing this. He was going through treatment in the hospital. If you notice the guy here, 2 days ago maybe, he's sitting right behind you with a mask. Here he is, this guy. It's unbelievable. Baruch Refuah Shlaima, Shkar for coming. And before we get to some names, Shkar for everybody again. Thank you. I know the Americans are not watching. Maybe they will watch afterwards. But again, Shkar for participating. Over 530 people participated in this. I'm going to read the names in a second. You know what? We'll do it now. We spoke about it. Daniel Kolker, 50 shekel. Dan Cohen, $180. Dr. Alan Rabinowitz, I think I said his name, but it doesn't matter, $18. Mr. Abraham Daltes, 10. Shimon Pepper, if I said your name twice, I see a bunch of names I said already. Shimon Pepper, 10. Tzvi Medetsky, 18. Shlomo Silverstone, 18. Shai Pollack, 100. Donald Cohen, 18. Abba Rennert was like, I forgot what it was, $100 a month, I think. Huh? $100 a month. Eliyahu Neiman, $50. Nathaniel Pollack, 18. Israel Mandel, 50. Hanan Aberbach, 180. Akiva Konigsberg, 18. Ari Bick, 18. Israel Davidson, 18. Pearl Henoch, 180. Israel Collar, 150. Sarah Jacobson, 10. Ralph Jamal, 101. Jonathan Fox, 18. Liram Maccabi, 18. Ronald Freeman, 36. David Stroley, 36. Alan Kessler, 15. Ellie Churns, 216. Yaakov Siegel, 18. I gotta say this number. I found this fascinating. Moshe Kinsbursky. I'm going out of line here, Yosef. Just one name. Moshe Kinsbursky, 83 and 33 cents. Does anybody know why?
$1,000.
Is it $1,000?
Yeah.
I thought because maybe I'm wrong. I think we're learning the sugya then, and it came out that the guy gets 83 and a third. That's what I thought. Okay, I might be wrong. You remember that? You also remember? It was 183. What? It's $1,000. It's very interesting. Okay. But there was a sugya we just learned. I forgot the sugya. We were learning. It's 183.3 or 83.3. Okay, fine. I'll go back. Where am I holding? I have no idea. Yair Kugel 180. I could start from the beginning. Chani Gross 15. Gregory Lowe 36. Yudi Ryan 15. Yudi Ryan is from Chicago. Young King 72. Martin Zaytet. It's not Zeret, right? 26. Elliot Moskowitz 18. Ari Kogel 18. Mark Bergson 12. Jonathan Berg 36. He just wrote me another email. He's the one. He's a big marketing genius, and he wrote me another email about swag that could work. He holds of the magnets. Okay, Moshe Weinberger 10, Joel Schwimmer 10, Shapiri 101, Yona B. Weiss 207, Afshin Hekmati 18, Abraham Herzog 54, Moshe Finkelstein 50, Sam Samuels 36, Stephen Melnick 10, Sheldon Zundel 26, I believe. This is Sheldon that we spoke about. He wrote an email. He has zero money, minus $20,000 in the bank. He's giving $26 a month. Yishkoach Sheldon, Refuah Shlaima to the son. Oh, we have to at least say this name. Shlomi Klein, the famous Shlomi Klein, $26. I just left him a message. I don't know if I told you guys. He gave me a set of benchers, 10 benchers. Beautiful. Nicest I've ever seen. It has a samach embroidered on the front. So I was at somebody's house in South Africa. I said, let me get these people a gift. I didn't tell you the Maisa? I told you the Maisa. I told you the Shir?
No.
So I go into the front, and it has the name of the place, embroidery, something. I said, okay, great. So I go online. $400. He gave me a gift of $400. He didn't say a word. He just gave it to me. So okay, and the benchers. I've received benchers before. You know, the set in acrylic, and it comes 10. But this is out of this world. I'm like, I don't think I'm getting that guy a $400 gift. And I like him and everything. Maybe I should. Okay, fine. The Koilo, nobody yet. Masechta Lilin Nishmas, Yosef Baruch ben Moshe Avraham Lilin Nishmas Elazar Moshe ben Natan Shalom for the hatzlacha Chana for my children. Second sponsor of the Masechta Jeff Rosner, zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Torah Chana Refuah Shlaima. Amen. Rest of the Masechta Ofishel Mitzva Motivators, the Refuahs Avi Avraham Moshe ben Chana Brokha Refuah Shlaima. First sponsor of the month, Lilin Nishmas Zechrya ben Moshe. Second sponsor of the month, as a zchus that Hashem should watch over me and ensure that I'm completely healthy as Meveser. We're running out of sponsors here, Yosef. I think everybody's giving all this money, this $18 a month to the thing. That's it, they're done.
And the visual sponsor is this last one now.
You do? Sheera Seplowitz, Lili Nishmas, Chanoch Meir ben Moshe Avraham HaKohen on his yard side. And the second sponsor of the day, Sid Wellman, in honor of my mother's first yard side, first day of Sukkot, at the age of 101, merited to see children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren who followed in the way of Torah and Mitzvos and Neshama should have an aliyah. Today, there is a sponsor? By the way, just as, again, not for the people that are bringing their children, but you should know that there will be music, Be'ez Hashem, in the Sukkah. We're going to have kumzas, we're going to sing. It's going to be very, very gishmak. There might be a little bit of a shear, 20 minutes or so. The rest is all food. The official Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Cohen, zchus for Limud Torah and continued hatzlacha and parnasa. Brand new perek. Almana nizoines menichse yisoimim. It says in the Kesubos that the husband is going to support his wife after he dies, so she gets supported from the yisoimim. Maisa Yodea Shalahan. We know that a husband gets the Maisa Yodayim, gets her handiwork, whatever she earns, goes to the husband because he gives her mezainos. So since the Yisayim take the position of their father, they're not necessarily her children. They're the Yisayim of the father. They have to support the father's wife. But because they support her, they get the Maisa Yodayim. Ve'ein chayavim b'kfurasa. On the flip side, a husband who has to bury his wife, they don't have to bury her. The husband buries the wife because if she dies, he receives her ksuba. They don't have to bury her. Yersheh ksubasa, but her inheritors that they yarshin her ksuba chayavim b'kfurasa. They are chayiv in the kfura. Ibaylu. Gemara has a shaila. What does it say here? Almana nizoines or almana hanizoines? Nizaynisnan oy hanizaynisnan. What does it mean? What's the difference? Nizaynisnan. In other words, she's no matter what, you have to feed her, you have to support her. Like we learned, the machlokes is between Anshigala and Yerushalayim. What's the lashon of the Kesuba? There's no choice in the matter over here. You have to feed her. And because you feed her, you support her, you get the Ma'aseh Yadayim. Or Oidilma Hani Zoynisnan Ukan Shiyuda Vibai Lo Yavila. If they don't want to support her, they don't have to, and therefore they won't get the Ma'aseh Yadayim. It's not a force. It's not because it's Sukkos, and this word triggered this halacha to me, so I'll share it with you, even though it has nothing to do with the sugi really, but just this idea of being forced. There's a very, very interesting halacha that I saw once. I'll share it with you. Obviously, if I ask you the question, you're going to know the answer, because I wouldn't be asking the question if it wasn't so obvious. But I think if you thought about it, you would not answer what the Magen Avraham answers. And that is, a guy put aside a lot of money to buy a lulav and esrog in Europe. Couldn't come by a lulav and esrog so easily. So he saved and he saved. He finally purchased this lulav and esrog. He was extremely excited. And he let the news out, which was a mistake. And the city, this village next to him, sends him a letter. We would like your lulav and esrog because we don't have one. And we have dozens of people, and you're a single person. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, five. What do you mean? You don't have, I paid for it, I spend money. Magen Avraham paskin that he has to give them the lulav and esrog. He doesn't have a choice. I don't remember if they had to pay for it or not. That would be really unfair if they didn't have to pay for it. But the idea is very, very powerful. The idea is that we're not in it for ourselves. We're here to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom. What is the best way to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom in this case? That the whole city should shake a lulav and esrog. That's what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from you. I would not come up with this by myself. This is the Magen Avraham. I thought it was a huge chiddush. To me, it was till this day, I'm a little shocked by this halacha. But it's a powerful idea. It's better that the city should shake a lulav and esrog. That's what you want. We're all aravim, whatever the okay.
Like Daf Yomi.
You can't force anybody to learn.
We should share a Torah.
Yeah. But starting with you. You go outside and start recruiting people on the street. That's what Hashem wants. Toshma, top of Tzadik Vov now. So, do they have to give her mezainas, and then because they have to give her mezainas, they get the Ma'aseh Yadayim? Or perhaps they don't have to. If they choose not to support her, they don't support her, and therefore they won't get her Ma'aseh Yadayim. Toshma, Omer B'Zeri Omer Shmuel, Mitzias Almana La'atzmo. Oh, if an almana finds a mitzia, she finds something in the street, she gets to keep it for herself. If it says with a hay that if they choose to support her, shapir, then okay, it makes sense. Why? Because we're talking about in a case where they're not supporting her. So she gets to keep her mitzia, she gets to keep her Ma'aseh Yadayim. But if they're forced to support her, never kabal, then they have to step in. They should be stepping into the shoes of the father. Ma bal, or the husband. Ma bal mitzias isha lebala. We know that if a woman finds something, he goes to the husband. Why does he go to the husband? Do you remember? Eva. We don't want the husband to be mad at her. I'm supporting you. I do everything for you. And here you find a diamond where you're going to just spend it on yourself. Eva. So too, l'chayra, she shouldn't be able to keep her mitzia. And if we say that she keeps her mitzia, it's because of the hay. By the way, if somebody, the door just locked automatically, so I don't want people to think that we're trying to keep them out. If somebody comes late, welcome. You're gonna see soon. Hill's gonna show up any minute, anyways. I don't want to feel bad. What?
To keep us in.
Keep you in, yeah. So, you see from here that it's their choice. They could pick and choose. They could say, we don't want to support you. And if they say that and she finds something, it's their loss. She gets to keep it. Says Gemara, what's the raya? No. It says they're forced to support her. Why is it that a husband gets to keep the findings of the wife? Shouldn't have a fight. We don't care if they fight with the Yarshim, with the Yisayimim, because they're forced to support her anyway. It's not going to be malo moirid. If a husband gets mad at his wife, we have a problem. We want shalom bayis. But if these Yisayimim get upset at her, let them get upset at her. So we learned this also in Kesubos. There's a lot of things that a wife does for the husband. She cooks, bakes, cleans, all the stuff. So she has to do it for the Yisayim as well, for the Yarshim. These are three things that we learned back then as well, that these are for chiba. This is to increase love between the couple, to the point where a nida doesn't do these three things for her husband. So it doesn't make sense that she should be doing these things for Yisayim, fakert. She should stay away from it. This brings closeness. She doesn't want to be close to you. You don't want her to be close to the Yisayim. She shouldn't be making their bed, washing their face. No way. Omer Bishua ben Levi, Kol Malacha She'eved Ha'isa L'Rabbi. Now listen to this. Rabbi Isai. This is a case for me. I hope I remember this. My entire life, I thought in a certain way. And when I read this one line, I decided I have to change my mahalach a little bit. I'm not kidding around there. If somebody tries to do me a favor, says, Eli, I want to help you. My first instinct is no. Sorry, no. I don't like it. Most people like that, I think. Try to help, try to give a gift. No, I'd rather not. But no, please, I want for the shear. I'll let you know when I need it. From here, I learned the new side. Maybe it's not kedai to turn down help. Somebody offers help. It's not so kedai. Why? Says the Gemara, so before we get to this right, I'm telling you, Eved has to do everything for in those days they had a Rebbe, it's not what we have today. Rabbi Muvak, do everything. You see in the Gemara, they used to schlep the clothes to the mikvah, bathe them, get them dressed, all the things, everything, besides taking off his shoe. Says the Gemara, so this is, and what's the reason? So the reason is, if you do something that an Eved does, which is taking on and off the shoes, people are going to think you're an Eved. They think you're an Eved, will be a problem in Shidduchim. Okay? Now, but if everybody knows that you're the son of so-and-so, they know your last name, they know your uncle Cohen, so nobody's going to be chayshid that you're an Eved. So it's okay. Welcome, Shemakir Loisei Laslam. There's a Maisa, it's Motzi Yantif, a Maisa. I thought it's a Rav Haigoin, and Reb Shmuel Bar Chofni Goin. They were in a massive fight, a big fight. Now, the Shmuel Bar Chofni Goin, he was of the opinion that there's no such thing as Nisim. He was a Goin, not a Achron, a Goin. He was of the opinion that certain Nisim, even in Novi, he had shot him for it. I don't know if that was the fight. Rav Hai Goin was in a huge fight with him. They hated each other, sort of. But Rav Hai Goin wanted to learn Torah by him, and he dressed up as a guy. Pretending he's a guy, and he's this, and he's walking around the house back and forth. And once in a while, when Shmuel Bar Chofni Goin asked a question to the Talmidim, Rav Hai Goin would slip in an answer. He would write it down and slip an answer that nobody knew. As the Eved, he would just leave it until one day. Shmuel Bar Chofni Goin realized it's impossible. Who could write this? And he came with the conclusion that it has to be Rav Hai Goin, the whole thing, and they discovered it. It's like every good story. They discovered that it's him. But once he discovered it's him, he loved him and he married his daughter. You can look it up. Rav Hai Goin married Shmuel Bar Chofni Goin's daughter. Says Gemara, Omer Rav Ashi, if you don't recognize the person, It's only in a place where you're not wearing tefillin. Aval monach tefillin, less lamba. If a guy is going to wear tefillin, then we know he's a Jew. How do we know he's a Jew? He's wearing tefillin. What about an Eved? So Taisus asks, we learned, in this Masechta, we learned that Avadim used to wear tefillin also. But he doesn't, Taisus says he doesn't wear tefillin all day long. In those days, people used to wear tefillin all day long, like the Zilbermans in the old city, all day. So you can tell the difference. If a guy is wearing tefillin all day, so you know he has good yichus. If he only wears once in a while, then he's an Eved. So some Sefer explains, because very interesting. He says somebody that wears tefillin all day long could do everything in his tefillin, besides taking out garbage on his head. But he can do everything, including taking off somebody's shoes. But if you only wear tefillin once in a while, then you can't do everything. You can't take off shoes. You can't do things that are bizarre. So there's they discuss this. Are there things you shouldn't be doing with tefillin, like eating? Let's say you're wearing tefillin and there's like what is it called? The yahrzeit thing. Tikkun. So they say it's not such a big deal. Some gedolim used to, maybe some are machmir. What about smoking with tefillin? So some, huh? You're right. You're 100% right. But as an additional problem. Additional problem of bezayin at tefillin. Some say that it's a bezayin for the tefillin. Fine. What? Yeah. What's the question?
You went into the Rosh Yeshiva and said, "I'm smoking. Can I put on tefillin?"
Oh.
You remember that?
I remember something. When was that? In Brachas?
No, it wasn't Brachas.
It sounds like years ago.
The Charusa, when he wanted to know, can he smoke in the base medrash?
Oh yeah.
So he said, absolutely not. And he goes back and he said, he asked the question the wrong way. You should say, I'm smoking. Can I learn Torah?
Yeah, exactly. Shkoyach. And you know what? You do remind me that in that tshuva, when he says, but if he's learning Torah and he needs to smoke a cigarette while he learns Torah with his tefillin, then yesh lo hakol. Okay, shkoyach. But I know what you're talking about. I know now I have what you're saying. But it was a long time ago. No, please don't tell me it was last week. It was a year ago. Yuvamas? Yuvamas is a lifetime ago. Okay, fine. Not brachas. No, it wasn't brachas. You're right. No, you're right. It wasn't brachas. Omer Abchia Bar Abba Omer B'Yochanan. Here we go. Here's the thing. If you have a Talmud and the Talmud wants to serve you, do chesed with you, you're preventing chesed. Shenemar lamas mireu chesed. Check out this pasuk. So in Eoiv, in Perek Vav, pasuk Yud Gimel says the second part of the pasuk, "V'sushia nitcha mimeni." I don't have the help that I want, and then it says lamas mireu chesed. So we're learning that he's preventing from his friend chesed. So it's unbelievable. If somebody wants to do, so you hear this idea? Somebody wants to do chesed with you. Don't be such a nice guy. Don't say, I don't need chesed now. He wants to perform chesed. So by you saying no, you're preventing a person from doing a mitzvah. This Friday, a seminary girl knocked on our door. Now sometimes they knock on our door, they say, can we see Reb Eli? Because my father does the daf of Reb Eli. So my wife says he doesn't live there, whatever, sends him away. But this girl knocks on the door. I'm not kidding. She knocks on the door. Rose from Baltimore. My father sent me here to help you. He watches the shir. I'm here to help. And for some reason, my wife said, okay, great. Here, take care of the Enokel. Because he was like running between, in the kitchen. Unbelievable. Chesed. So I would have said, no, it's great. Thank you so much. But come again a different time. Took her up. She knows the pasuk. My wife is a Baki. Niyav.
Is she coming for breakfast?
That's what they say, yeah. Shimusha gadol milimuda. Shimusha what? So that's only in Talmid Chachamim and Rabbanim and this and that. That's what we're talking about over here. No, he's saying helping a gadol and learning from a gadol. Rabbi Yankee Friedman, what it says, there's a Rabbi Yankee Friedman from Tifrach that I used to live in his house for like a year, and I haven't seen him in 40 years. If you guys know what I'm talking about, he opened up a lot of yeshivas in the Negev. So he once asked, he said there was I think this is Pasha, I don't think it's even a shayla, but there was a woman, an elderly woman, who used to cook for her family. She's getting older. So the family was thinking that they have to stop her from cooking. It's too much for her. So he said, obviously, I think the answer is obvious. He said, if you have good midas, you let her cook. You let her cook, you help her, you this. Because that's what she's living for. That's what she wants. The chesed. Okay. What else did I see here? There's another saying they say. Yoser masha ashir noisen la'ani. The ani gives to the. You think that you're giving the poor person tzedakah? No, he's enabling you to give tzedakah. You think you're giving that guy is you're letting that guy do chesed. I guess you are enabling him to do a mitzvah. That's what it is. Okay, fine. But a few things the Peliot says here. Just don't let a Talmud Chacham do chesed with you. It's not a good idea to let somebody that's a Talmud Chacham. And only if you know that the person really wants to do it, he's not just trying to, my father sent me, and maybe that's not such a good one. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Omer af parik mimenu yira shamayim. You're preventing the guy, because in the same pasuk it says, look at the end of this pasuk. The yira shaka yazov. Says the Gemara. Omer Elazar. Almana shetavzem metaltem mimzeinesel. Almana, she has mizainas. She knows she has the support coming. Where does the support come from? From real estate. She goes ahead and she grabs movable items. Masha tafsa tafsa. If she grabs, okay, there's nothing we can do. Tanyanam hachi, almana shetavsa metaltem mimzeinesel. Masha tafsa tafsa. V'chen giyasar avdimi omar ma'isa bekalasa shor b'shapsai shetavsa the sakim aleim mayas. There's a story with the daughter-in-law of Rab Shapsai. She grabbed a full sack full of money, a lot of money. They couldn't get it out of her, halachically. So once you chap, that's because she grabbed for mezainas for the support. That only applies to mezainas and not to ksuba. What's the difference? Because ksuba, you have a shibud to real estate, but not to metaltalin. So for the same reason, you shouldn't be able to grab for mezainas. Says the Gemara, we argue, we say, if she grabs for ksuba, we allow it. In fact, that's how Rava Paskins, whatever she grabs, whether it's for the ksuba, for mezainas, it's a good grab. Now, Almana, you don't hear from her. She's not demanding mezainas. Ibda mezainas. She loses out on her mezainas. I don't need this chart anymore. Ishkoyach. Ibda mezainas. Now, as we're going to see, it only means that she loses the mezainas, the back mezainas, but not forwards. Ask the Gemara, what does it mean 2 or 3 years? If she loses out on 2 years of mezainas, certainly on 3. Look, what?
She's in the house?
Yeah. She's eating from her own food. She's not demanding, she didn't take anybody to court. If she's wealthy, she could last for 3 years. I don't know what that is. What is that? Don't worry about it. Okay. But aniya, 2 years. Inami kan beprutza kan betsnua. Unbelievable. It's crazy. We don't relate to this lashon. She's a parut. She's a prutza. What does a prutza mean? She has the audacity to go to Bezdin and demand mezainas. She's a loose woman. So a regular woman doesn't do that. She's too embarrassed to go, even though she doesn't have support. This one is a prutza. We're talking about the back. Eliakim from the Koil told me, Maisa Shai with him, that I hope this is the right story because he told this to me a while ago. He said when he's a Torah Rabbani, he's a lawyer for Din Torah. So there's a woman in the group. She wanted to become a Torah Rabbani, and I was just thinking like Prutza, talking about according to this Gemara, this woman is a Prutza. Because if you're demanding Mizrahi is going to court, you're Prutza. So can you imagine if you go to court to I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I hope she doesn't listen to the share. So, but basically, so basically, what happened was they asked the question. They said, when a father marries off her daughter, is it the Rabbanon or the Eraisa? And she said, it's the Rabbanon. So they said, get out of here. She started crying, whatever. She said, but it's not in the Chomer. It's not in the Chomer. It's like, I'm not supposed to know it, even though it's in the Torah. I don't need to know it because it's not part of the stuff that we're studying for. The whole thing. Okay, fine. Omer Rava. Lo amar ela mafreya. Aval haba. Yesh lo boy Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi asked the kasha. So basically, the question of the Gemara is, who has the chazaka on the belongings here? The husband dies, he leaves over assets. He has a whole, what is it called? A estate. Thank you, that's the word. There's an estate. Who controls the part that she's deserving? Is it her? Or it's the Yisayim, the Yisayim just give her from the estate. It makes a big nafkamina because of the halacha of Amud Beis. If they're taking out of her, then they're the moitzi. They have to bring a raya. So Yisayim moimrim nosananu. We gave you already. We supported you, at least for this kufa, whatever. You're talking about this year. We paid you. V'yomer lo natalti. Who has to bring a raya tzadik Amud Beis in honor of my uncle Pressman? As a zchus for your fill with mazel brach hatzlacha, Simcha parnos berevach, and another sponsor as a zchus to continue being able to support Torah and to finish Shas with rebelli. Givaldik. Yeah. But they said they paid already.
They have to bring a raya that they gave her.
Well, who's the machzik? You have to know who the machzik is. If it all depends who's in charge of the nechasim. If they're in charge, then they don't have to bring a raya. She has to bring a raya. It's very hard to bring a raya that you didn't get something. But Rashi says, what? What do you mean? Every chayv, it's a chayv. It belongs to her. You owe me $100. It belongs to me. Yeah. So, but who has to bring the rayas? It's just a question of who's the moitzi and who's not the moitzi. If you owe me $100, I have to be moitzi for you. I have to prove that you owe me $100. That's just how it works. I just before I forget to say this, so Rabbi Yankel Galinsky brings, it's also Motzei Shabbos, Motzei Yanta. Rabbi Yankel Galinsky says he walked into a shul, maybe it's a Ma'aseh Shkemataya. He walked into a shul and he sees a Magichir, Daf Yomi guy giving a shear, and he's talking about a moitzi mechaveroi, and the idol is falling asleep. So the Magichir goes, "Ha-moitzi mechaveroi, olav." Nothing. Ha-moitzi mechaveroi, olav. And one guy goes, "Hashalom," and he goes back. Okay. You can make up mices like that also. It's okay. they don't show up, but when they do show up, they learn. Is it up to her to bring the raya? Who is the muchzik here in the nechasim? He dies, he leaves it over for his wife. He says, okay, here's the ksuba, here's the thing. Is it hers in the box? She just has to go get it? Or it's the Yisayim's and they're going to divide it and they're going to give it to her. Tashma. The Tani Levi, Almona calls Manshali Nises, Ala Yisayimim Lahavi Raya. So Levi says, as long, it depends. This is how it goes. Calls Manshali Nises, a regular Almona who didn't get married yet, then she's the muchsuk, the Yisayimim have to bring a Raya. And the story, here's the answer. She's the muchsuk, the Yisayimim have to bring a Raya. Nises. But once she gets married, she loses the parnasa. And what does she want? She's married, but she wants the back parnasa, the stuff that they owe her from before she got married, and then she has to bring a raya. It says, if she takes her late husband's assets, she starts selling them off. So she should explain in the memo, there's a memo, in the check, in the shtar, she should write in the memo, I sold off that building for my ksuba. I sold off that farm for my mezainas. She should explain what it's for. That's one mandomar. Ve'elu lemezainas macharti, ve'elu ksuba macharti, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds she should explain. The Gemara is going to explain why you need to explain. Rabbi Yossi Omer mecheres v'keseves stam. It's better v'chein koicha yafe. She gains a lot by not saying what it's for, because sometimes you could get stuck. And let's say there's no nechasim, as the Gemara is going to explain soon, or Rashi explains in the Gemara. There's no nechasim. So now, if she didn't write what it is, she could go after people that bought property from her late husband. But if she explains what it is, she'll have a problem. Depends what it is. So, says the Gemara, my love, what's the machlokes here? She should explain, not explain. Rabbi Yehuda says she should explain, because he holds that the muchzik over here are the Yisayim. It's the belonging, the assets are in their possession. So the Yisayim could claim that everything that she sold was for the ksuba. Now, she's stuck without anything. And if she says now, okay, you're right, I sold everything for the ksuba, but give me my mezainas. You owe me a whole year's worth of mezainas. She's the mighty. She has to bring the right. So that's why Rabbi Yehuda says, write in there what it is. Write that it's for mezainas. And they're not going to be able to claim that you sold the building for ksuba. If they claim that they sold the building for ksuba, you didn't write in the memo. We know that she sold the building. She sold the building. She's allowed to sell stuff to support herself. She sold the building. They're going to claim that it was for the ksuba. You don't know it's not for the ksuba. And then when she comes to claim mezainas, they'll say, we already gave you mezainas. And it's up to her to prove it. And she can't prove it. Therefore, write in the memo that what she sold the building for was for mezainas. Now for a ksuba, they can't claim it. Rabbi Yossi holds she shouldn't. She doesn't have to explain. They're in her possession. She's the mighty. It's better not to write anything. Why? Because if there's no nechasim, let's say, she'll say that everything that she sold, what is she going to do? She didn't write anything. If she didn't write, then she could say, you know what? Everything I sold, the buildings I sold were from Zionist. It's from Zionist. Now I'm coming to claim my ksuba. Pay up the ksuba. We're going to use this idea a little bit later as well. Says the Gemara. But what's the big raya? How do you know that this is the machlokes here? You're telling me it was machlokes hanaim if the Yisayimim are the machzik or the Alman is the machzik? Who's the mighty over here? In whose possession are these nechasim? I could say no. I could be doichik and say, not doichik. I'll say a different pshat. There's no force here to tell me that there's a machlokes tanaim. Maybe everybody's on the same page. Everybody holds that Almana is in charge. No, if the Almana is in charge, why does Rabbi Yehuda say write it in the ksuba, write it in the memo? The whole point was that Almana is not in charge, and therefore he says to write it in the ksuba so she could go collect later on. Write it in the shtar. Rabbi Yehuda, it's a type of kamashmalon. He's not saying you have to. He's giving you good advice. Another reason. I know a guy, a guy here. They were reading him a shidduch, and they said, great girl and everything, but she's high maintenance. High maintenance. He walked away. Serious. Walked away from the shidduch. Okay. He's very smart, but he's in his 40s. Never married. No, I'm just kidding. Fine. Yeah. Talk for yourself, Avi. We got to bring. You know what? We got to bring your wife in here one day and see what's going on. I met her. She's got not as bad as you make it out. Bad, but not as bad. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Avi will be cowering in the corner like a man.
No. I was in your house once by the siyum. You made a bunch of siyum, but one time you made a siyum where what's his name? Gorig did the thing. Eitan. It was back in COVID, Taka, where you did it outdoors over there in the whole street. It's crazy. Yeah. Fine. Zog the Gemara. So again, Rav Tanusa. She look at her. She fresses. All she does, she spends a lot of money on mezainis. She's very high maintenance. It says Rashi, she's not going to go well for her in Shidduchim. It's good. Okay, so again, Rabbi Yochanan on Amud Aleph, right? What was the whole question? Who has to prove what? The Simon have possession of all the nechasim, of all the assets, and therefore the Alman has to prove, or she has possession on her mezainis, and they have to prove to her. As the Gemara, we have a Mefurish Mishnah. Because she writes in the memo. You see, like what? Like Rabbi Yehuda, you're supposed to write in the memo. Says Rashi, very, very pashut, but it's good to say it over again. Rabbi Yochanan knew all Mishnayos. Shisha Sidra Mishnah. Every Tana, every Amoira knows all Mishnayos. There's no such thing as an Amoira not knowing a Mishnah. But it's possible for Amoira not to know a Brisa. Rashi points that out. So if I'm bringing you a Mishnah, that you can't say Rabbi Yochanan didn't know about. The Brisa knew, but not the Mishnah. So I'm going back to explain what I was saying before. Why didn't Rabbi Yochanan prove from the Mishnah what? He didn't know a Mishnah? Of course he knew a Mishnah. He knew every Mishnah. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky knows the Mishnah is Balpeh, so does Rabbi Yochanan. So and he could have proven it from the Mishnah. No, he couldn't. Why? Because the Mishnah is saying that she wrote it in the memo. That's a good idea. It's very good to be on top of your stuff and to write memos. This is for the Ksuba, a little bit for the Ksuba. I took a little bit from Zionis. Don't say that I sold off all these buildings from Zionis. What, I eat so much, I go out so much to restaurants. Terrible. Nobody's going to marry her. So it's a taiva. So by us in our so also it's a taiva. Don't prove for me that Rabbi Yehuda holds. He's mechulik on who is it? Rabbi Yosef. Inami the kuli almona nichse becheskes yasmi kaimo. No, you can also say that everybody agrees that the nechasim are in the rishos of the Yisayimim, and she has to bring a raya. Before we said that the nechasim are in her rishos. In other words, there's no force. You want to tell me there's a machlokes here? I'm going to say either everybody holds the Alman is in charge, or everybody holds that the Yisayim are in charge. How do I say the Yisayim are in charge? So what would be machlokes? By the time the Rabbi Yosef Kedabai Kshisha. Interesting. We just had him the other day. Here we have him again. The elder Abai. Nomar Abai Kshisha. Mashal the Rabbi Yosef Lamad David Daima. What's the mashal of Rabbi Yosef? L'shchimera. I'll give you a mashal. Shchimera. A guy on his deathbed. A guy on his deathbed. The halacha of a guy on his deathbed. A shchimera doesn't have to write anything. Whatever he says goes. Sha'amar tnu masayim zuz l'ploini bal choyvi. So this shchimera borrowed money. He's saying, in addition to what I borrowed, he's a great guy. He always used to lend me money. He used to take me out of my problems. I want you to give him 200. Now, I could do two things with the 200. I could either pay off the loan, or I could give him a gift. But if I give him a gift, I have to pay off the loan. If I pay off the loan, I have to give him a gift. It's two things. He said, I'm giving, in addition to the loan, I'm giving 200. Now, the loan, you could go, the guy that lent him the money could go and take mishubadim, even karkais that he sold before. So listen to this, very pashut, says the Gemara. The guy, the receiver, the lender, he could decide on the spot what he wants to do with the 200. He could say, either I'm paying off the loan and I'll come after him later on and take a gift, or what would you guys do? What would you do if you had the option?
Gift.
Why gift first?
We're coming after a loan.
Oh, very good. The Ron is right. First, you take the gift. Get the free stuff first. Get that out of the way. Later on, I'll come after the guy for the loan. I have Meshubadim I can come after. I have Karkais I can come after. Don't be Meshuggah. If you're going to go after the loan, pay off the loan first. It sounds great. Pay off the loan. And then you're going to want to come collect your gift. Everybody, there's nowhere to collect it from. Where are you going to collect it from? Oh. If you grab the matana, now he did great. Now check out this thing for a second. Avraham, I need you here for a second. Not kidding. This is frozen. Boys, I give a round of applause to Avraham Cohen. He's taking over from Gary. A genius in computers. We're trying to hire him for MDY. We'll see if we can get him. Should we say that?
He's also at Solo.
He is at Solo?
Yes.
He's a nice guy too.
Yes.
We need more funds.
What? We do need more sponsors. Every day we're hiring more people. I just need that chart. Where were we? In that thingy here. What about Gargir? He does. Where is he? Riding his bike now?
Not making coffee.
It doesn't come. Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay. So Memela, it goes like this. There's three things. I just put it in writing. Why not? There's no other chart. So just like we said by this guy, we're finished for tonight. Just finish this little piece here. This guy that has the option of getting matana, getting a gift, what should he do? He should take his gift for her. The almana also, when she doesn't do anything, she doesn't write in the shtar, then she becomes a balas koyach. She has power. Why? Because if she writes that she sold the property for a ksuba, she won't be able to get mezaidas, like we said before. So what do you do? I just want to point this out. There's another step here that Rashi sticks in. She has to have edim that witness that some of the stuff that she sold was for mezainas, in order that if the Yisraelim come and claim the opposite, she has at least a raya, she has edim. It's interesting that Rashi brings that. Rashi talks about the whole thing. Look at Rashi over here. She talks about bringing edim. So again, Almana, her koyach is to be quiet, not to write down. Then she'll have the koyach. Then she can do whatever she wants, like the guy who takes the gift, and then he can do whatever he wants. Have a wonderful evening. A good Moed.